So I wanted to answer this question here that I feel like comes up often because even though I talked about it a little bit in part 2 of my series, I wanted to go into more detail about it. Okay, so the short answer to this is that I got a referral. But before you scroll away, I just want to preface that I'm 100% sure that she referred multiple people both before as well as after, and they did not get the job. So I want to break down the reasons on why I feel like I was able to stand out. So number one is that I took the time to learn exactly what type of people they were looking for and the skills that they were looking to hire. I did this by going line by line on the job description, as well as talking to my friend about the type of people they hire. I made sure that I drew a through line from my resume and my skills and experience to exactly what they were looking for and kind of connected it to make sure that they saw that. So here's a screenshot of some of the examples that I drew parallels from, which I feel like helped if you want to say that for later. So the second thing is that once I got the interview, I took the time to be able to learn their product and take the next step. From my understanding of the role itself was a credit and collections analyst position, and it would be a contract position for only 6 months. So I knew the job essentially would consist of a few things. Number one being managing a portfolio of customers and having both cash and aging targets to collect on. Number two, and primarily the main one, is really just following up and making sure, sometimes making difficult calls or emails. I mean, nobody likes to be heard from collections. So, you're dealing with a lot of customers in an emotional state. Typically, they're not really fun calls to get and they're not looking for your calls. And the third part of it was reconciliation of data that kind of used Excel as a basis to this. So a lot of the times when people don't pay their invoices, it's typically because of billing and invoicing mistakes. So there's a portion of data reconciliation that you had to do. So the two things that I did was made sure that I understood basic Excel skills. That includes things like pivot tables, VLOOKUPs, if statements, which again isn't super riveting, but at that time I had no idea kind of how to do that. So I just wanted to make sure that I came in super prepared, as well as kind of learn the basics of tech. So even like what a CRM was. This interview was for Salesforce and I had no idea what a CRM is for. So I did my research, learned what a CRM was, understood how it relates to the sales cycle, and understand like what Salesforce is as a product in itself and the different branches that they did and how my role would fit into the creative department, just so that I have things to talk about. When you're trying to pivot, it's really, really important to be able to put yourself in the hiring manager's shoes. You might have this idea of all the skills and experience of what you could do, but it's really about translating that knowledge that you have to what they're looking for so that their onboarding time of you is going to be the least. So it's like me doing that work up front to make sure that I knew what they were looking for, knew what they wanted, and was as well equipped to that role prior to the interview, made them feel confident in hiring me, in that they could see value from me within even a 6-month contract. I would just say that, don't discredit all of those stepping stone type roles. Obviously, I knew that I wasn't going to be in credit and collections forever. I just knew that I needed to get in the door somewhere. So at the time, I had a contract position and they had offered me a full-time role, but I just knew I had to get out of the marketing agency, not because it was terrible or anything, but it was a small company. It was like 5-6 people. So I didn't really have too much room to grow. Whereas in Salesforce, I knew that, if I did well, I could move up. There's rooms to move around. And ultimately, I did end up moving up and getting a supervisor or manager role in maybe in a year or so, or a year and a half, I would say. And then after that, also pivoted to more of the revenue operations roles, which I'm now in. So, it just goes to show that a stepping stone like that could really still set the foundation for something greater, and not to discredit those, especially contract positions. Sometimes those are almost better for you because they're just looking for somebody for a shorter period of time. Usually people who have experience maybe won't want to look for those contract roles, so sometimes you have more of a leg up in that sense. But if you're able to show them value, you really learn, and then you can again move horizontally, get a full-time role. There's kind of possibilities there. So that's my story of how I moved and got my first role into tech. Let me know if you have any more questions.